What if the greatest threat to national security is not an enemy across the border, but the destruction we are causing within our own ecosystems? For decades, humanity believed that development meant one thing: build bigger, extract faster, expand endlessly. Ports, highways, mega infrastructure, industrial corridors, trade routes. And today, India's Great Nicobar mega project is being presented as exactly that, a symbol of strategic growth, economic ambition, and national power. But beneath the language of progress lies a question far more dangerous. At what point does development become self destruction? Because the Great Nicobar project is not being proposed on empty, vacant land. It is being proposed in one of the most ecologically fragile and biodiverse regions in the Indian Ocean. Ancient tropical rainforests, coral reef ecosystems, mangroves, endangered marine life, indigenous tribal communities, and one of the most seismically vulnerable regions on earth. Yet massive infrastructure is being planned here: a transshipment port, an airport, townships, power infrastructure, roads, tourism expansion, and large scale construction. The official argument is simple: India needs strategic infrastructure, India needs maritime power, India needs economic growth, India must compete globally. And yes, development matters. But here's the question nobody wants to ask honestly: if development destroys the ecological system sustaining human civilization, is it still development or is it delayed collapse? Because this project involves clearing vast stretches of ancient rainforest, and rainforests are not simply trees. They regulate climate, store carbon, protect biodiversity, support marine ecosystems, and act as living climate infrastructure built over thousands of years. You cannot truly recreate that through plantation drives somewhere else. A rainforest is not furniture, it is a living system. And then there are the coral reefs. Coral reefs are often misunderstood as beautiful underwater scenery, but they are among the most important protective ecosystems on Earth. They support marine biodiversity, fisheries, coastal stability, and natural disaster buffering. But ports require dredging. Dredging damages marine ecosystems. Shipping increases noise pollution and disruption. And once such ecosystems collapse, the damage can become irreversible. Then comes another uncomfortable reality. Great Nicobar lies in a highly seismic and tsunami prone zone. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami devastated these islands. Do you remember that? So critics are asking, why are we building massive permanent infrastructure in one of the most disaster sensitive regions in the country? And this brings us to the central contradiction. The project is being justified in the name of national security and the long-term strategic interest. But ecological destabilization itself is now becoming one of the greatest threats to human security. Floods destroy economies, heat waves kill thousands, water crisis destabilizes societies, landslides wipe out infrastructure, climate disasters displace population. The definition of security itself is changing. In the 21st century, national security is no longer only about borders and military strength. It is also about climate resilience, ecological stability, water security, food systems, and disaster survivability. A country cannot bulldoze its ecological foundations and call it security. And this debate is not just about forests and oceans, it is also about indigenous communities. The Shompen and Nicobarese peoples are not relics of the past. They are among the last communities living in deep ecological relationship with these ecosystems. And this matters scientifically. Studies across the world repeatedly show that the indigenous territories often preserve biodiversity more effectively than heavily industrialized regions. Why? Because indigenous knowledge systems evolve through long term coexistence with nature. When indigenous communities disappear, ecological intelligence disappears with them. This is This is not just cultural loss, it is clearly ecological loss. And then comes perhaps the most important question of all: who truly benefits from projects like these? Governments speak about long term growth, national interest, strategic development. But critics argue that many mega projects across the world often prioritize short term extraction over long term sustainability. Large contracts, construction expansion, corporate interest, political prestige. Meanwhile, future generations inherit ecological instability, climate vulnerability, and irreversible environmental damage. And this is where the conversation becomes bigger than one island. Because this is not only happening in coastal ecosystems. Across the world, mountains are being destabilized, rivers are being polluted, forests are disappearing, glaciers are melting, cities are overheating, extreme weather is intensifying. The planet is already warning us. Yet, humanity still behaves as though nature is an obstacle to economic growth instead of the foundation of civilization itself. We treat forests as timber, mountains as construction sites, oceans as trade corridors, rivers as resources. But the earth does not belong to us. We are not owners of the planet. We are custodians of the earth for the future generations. And future generations cannot vote today, right? They cannot protest today, but they will inherit every coastline we destabilize, every forest we destroy, and every ecological mistake we normalize in the name of progress. This is why the Great Nicobar debate matters far beyond one project. Because the real question is no longer can humanity continue developing. The real question is can humanity survive a model of development that destroys the very systems sustaining life itself? Because there is no national security on a living planet.